Welcome to the Champions Chapter today. A wonderful day. Every Saturday and every moment we seek to be impacted, to be built, and to learn more. I want to share with you something. The late Dr. Miles Monroe once said, the wealthiest place on planet Earth are not the diamond fields in South Africa, are not the gold mines in Congo, are not the brave places where gold are. But he says, the wealthiest place on planet Earth is a grave. Welcome to the Champions Chapter with me, Philmon Okwong. Thank you, and today we'll be learning quite a lot.
It is not about worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found.
But you have this moment.
I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.
Why? Why do we have the richest place in the grave? Why do we have all that we need in the grave? Look here. In the grave, we have ideas that have never been implemented. In the grave, we have dreams that have never been fulfilled. And what's more, in the grave, we have lives that have never been lived. Why do I say we have lives that have never been lived? Most of us today are just moving by the trends, just living a life set by what the society needs and what everything seems to be moving around with. My point here, today I want to talk about living a life worth living. There is a life worth living. Let me tell you something. When we were young, we had dreams. When we were young, we have ideas, and everyone kept on saying, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. When I grow up, I want to be an engineer. When I grow up, I want to be so and so. Those were childhood dreams. But do we have people who live up to their dreams? Do we have people who live up to their purpose? You have to think about, why was I born? My question first before you go further. Listen. Imagine you were not born. Will we miss anything in this world? Imagine you didn't exist today. Will we miss you today? Or it would just be like anything that would have happened? Listen. If your absence is never felt, it means your presence was never wanted. If you can leave your organization, you leave your marketplace, and no one feels your absence, there's a problem. If you leave your team, you don't work along with your team, and they don't feel your absence, something is missing. Check out yourself. So how do you get into living a life worth living? It comes to the point, identifying why you were born. Everyone is born with an assignment. Everyone is born with a purpose to live. So every human being has got to identify, what should I do to fulfill my assignment? What should I do to live up to my dreams? How do you identify your dreams? How do you look up to the things you want to do? One, look within. I keep telling people, don't look for so much out in any other world. All that you're looking for is within. You could be having a talent. The talent is never out. The talent is within. Work on your talent. Become the best you ought to be. If you get up to sing, can someone say, oh, I love the way she sings. I love the way he dances. I love the way he does so and so. That comes to identifying what you do best. In this world, if you want to win, if you've got to be a champion, identify what you can do so well. One time I told a friend that what is that one thing that you can do that even if you are not paid, you live fulfilled, you live so happy? What is that one thing? That was a question to a friend, but I want to bring the question to you. What is that one thing you would do without being paid, but you still remain happy? That has your passion and that has your purpose. The day you analyze and realize that very thing that you can do without any pay, but you're still happy, you've started living your life. It's not about accumulating a lot of money. The life worth living is a life of legacy. I've never heard the richest person being made on a monument that Philmon could feel had a lot of money. That's not the case. It's not about having a lot of money. It's about influencing your world. You need to influence your world with your purpose. You need to influence with your world. So when you're dreaming, don't just dream to be like anybody else. This is the point. Very frustrating, very painful, but I have to tell you, most of us are living duplicates. You want to be like somebody, you've never lived your life. Or you want to say, I want to sing like this musician. I want to be like Michael Jackson. I want to be like Sinach. You want to be like, you're becoming a photocopy of somebody. Have you ever thought of being the real you? You don't need to be a photocopy of somebody. You need to become the real Philmon. You need to become the real Jen. You need to become the real person. So my point number 2 was, never become a duplicate of anybody. Mike Tyson might have been the best boxer you've ever watched. That was Mike Tyson. But I could tell you something. There is much more that you can do than Mike Tyson. You could have watched somebody and they inspired you. Now, do not limit yourself to inspiration. Do not limit yourself to your mentor. Something more painful. If you don't do that, you're cheating yourself. You're cheating on yourself. You're robbing yourself of your potential. You're living someone else's dream. Oh, I love this. Don't live someone else's dream. Live your dream. If they were good at singing, that was them. There is something particular about you in singing, and that's what you should do. So this message goes to every parent, to every manager, to every director, to every student, to everyone out there. My point to you is that live your dreams. Live your life. There's something amazing again. Today people are living lifestyles. There is a difference between living a life and living a lifestyle. You know, allow me to talk to the corporate people, the so-called corporate people. I know we're corporate, we're okay, but corporate is a lifestyle. It's an illusion. Some people today want to drive cars they don't afford. But why do they want to drive these cars? Because they've seen some other friend driving the same kind of car. Some people want to live in rich neighborhoods because they have a friend living there. But can you afford it? Why are you hiding in it? Why are you hiding in an illusion? You're hiding in an environment you cannot afford. You may be having a very nice car and you cannot sustain it. Don't live a life you can never sustain. Don't engage in a life you can never sustain. Become the real you. The world wants to celebrate you. Your purpose brings out your originality. I say it again, your purpose brings out your originality. So, number 3, I like to talk about your potential. Why we talk about the grave being the wealthiest place is because in the grave we have the talents dead. We have lives dead. We have writers dead. All that could be potential. Today, if I'm no more, I've checked out of this world, no one will ever do what I was meant to do. No one. So I carry my own potential. I carry that potential and it must benefit people. I have to give it to add value to this world. So potential can never be limited. Potential is only robbed. Don't rob yourself. Don't rob your potential. Listen, it's very intriguing, very true, very serious. Don't get limited to academic papers. You might have your certificates. You might be having your degrees. You must be having your masters. But the best of you is not in academic documents. That's not. The best of you is not in your degrees. That is not it. They've never taught you how to relate to people in your degrees. Never. They never tell you how to make life from your degrees. Your degrees prepare you for your jobs. It's okay, you can look for a job, but the best of your potential is in what you can give. Potential gives. What can you give this world? What can you give this world? What potential will you give this world? Your singing, your talent, your knowledge. You have to give something to this world. And that comes in potential. If you're a manager in that office, imagine you're not there. Can we bring in another manager to bring in? Yes, we can bring in another manager to fill in the gap. But let me tell you something. As a manager, give the best that you can. Manager is just a title. Manager is just a role. But there is a real you who makes the manager better. That's why I keep telling people, I've never seen best schools. We don't have best schools. We don't have first-class nations. I hear this is a first world country. No, we don't have something like that. We don't have best schools. Why? Because it's only the students who make the schools best. So we have best students who are made by the teachers, not a best school. We don't have first-class nations. We have individuals. If I carried all the rich tycoons in America, in Canada, wherever, and bring them to Uganda, to Africa, to the country where you are, they will turn that country a first-class country, a first-world country. What does that mean? Potential is hidden in people. Everything is hidden in people. You carry the world. You carry the first-class world in you. You carry the best school in you. So if you want to make that school great, become the great person. If you want to make the nation great, become great. Potential is built in people. Never rob yourself. I remember a story. One time I was in school and we were playing volleyball. I was short by then. I remember I was in primary. So we're playing against our teachers, but I was a short guy and I was in from there ready to block a sudden spike. I was ready to block a sudden spike. So the teachers seemed to be defeating us. So they set up a very good ball for our teacher to spike on the pupil's side. But I remember I jumped fearfully, trying to block the teacher's spike. And I remember I didn't give my best. I jumped fearfully and the ball just tapped my fingertips. And the teacher celebrated. But I told myself, why is he celebrating? Yet I didn't give my best. Because I remember if I'd given my best, if I jumped higher, I would block that spike. What does it mean? Today I'm living in regrets. How I wish I blocked the spike. How I wish I did this. So the point comes back to life. If you don't give your best to life, you regret one day. How I wish I performed well in the school. How I wish I was the best employee. How I wish I gave everything to the maximum. Potential should not leave room for regrets. Don't regret at all. Give out your best. When you're given an assignment to do, don't think that it would have been someone else to do it. Think, I am the right person. Think about it, I'm the right person. Why? Because you carry the energy, you carry the knowledge, you carry the potential, and you carry the capacity. In everything you're doing, give in your energy. Let me tell you something about potential. The world does not respond to noise. You know, what noise am I meaning? Complaints and all that. The world celebrates results. So if you want to be a champion in life, you're talking about the champions chapter. If you want to be a champion in life, you got to give results. Every potential must give results. So don't sit back. In everything you do, give in your best. We'll be right back. Don't turn. The champions chapter is still adding value to you. We're watching you.
About worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nelson
Because,
Mandela said, there is no passion to be found.
but you have this moment.
I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break. It's been great. I know you're watching. I know you're learning. But also I know you're unlearning certain thoughts, some ideologies and all that. It's better to learn and rethink. All right, it's been great. In the first segment, we talked about purpose, originality, and potential. We said that you have to give in the best to your potential. We said you have to live up to your purpose, finding your area of influence. And we say you have to be original. You have to get the original point of view that whatsoever you do could be your signature and must be your signature. All right, and we pick it up from there and we talk about something else intriguing, serious, but gives us a meaning. I want to tell you something. In this world, there's a lot of noise. And most of us today respond to what kind of noise is moving on. In some countries right now, they have noise of politics. In other countries, they have noise maybe of economic issues. But let's leave about the country. Let's leave about the organization. Let's come back to you. What's the kind of noise that is running in your life? You know, we run by trends. And noise is what people are paying attention to. So even you right now, are you moved by the noise of the world? Or you're moved by what you set your goals to do? So the point is, avoid being distracted in life. We have a lot of things happening today. But why are we distracted? Because we want to know everything and we want to do everything. You don't have to know everything. No. You don't have to do everything. Focus in your area of specialty. Focus is the game. Oh, once someone abbreviated focus as follow one course until successful. Follow one course. How about your life? Is there a course of life you're following? Let me talk to this manager in this office. You're saying, no, ever since I took up this role as a manager of this company, I want to take this direction. Later on, you're getting into internal fights of the organization. You don't have to protect your position. You have to work out your position. I think that's the right thing. You don't have to violently protect your position. You have to defend your position by working hard. Avoid the noise coming from outside and focus on the job. Avoid what's happening. You find an employee is taken up by what is happening in the entertainment industry than what they can do to improve on their work. Avoid being distracted. Distraction leads into distraction leads you into the world of destruction. I love that. If you get distracted, you'll be destroyed. Focus. In this world, the people who succeed are people who focus on something. I remember I started coaching. It's my passion. Talking to people, talking to organizations, adding value to them. I remember I started that a long time. I found out it's my area of influence, and I focused on it. You never find me doing something that I'm not so much into. You don't find me in studio trying to sing to become somebody. I want to be me. I want to be myself, and I focus in this field. You can't do it for long and you fail. Never. You can't train every day for soccer, football, and you don't become a star. Focus needs training. You won't only say, oh, you know I'm good. Let me tell you, the world doesn't want to know how good you are. The world wants to see. The world wants to experience how good you are. They don't just want to know. They want to experience how good you are. And how does that come in? Friends, focus in what you're doing. Avoid distraction. Every champion gives in their best. So that's one thing I want you to take up from this. Focus is the game. You parents, I want to talk to you. Focus on the family. Focus on the child. Allow the child to become the best of whom they want to be. I talked about dreams earlier. And I said, some of your parents want us, children, your children, to live your dreams. What does it mean? You fail to focus on your dreams. I remember one time, a parent told his son that, oh my son, I so much believe in you. I want to become the best in this community. That village had never had a doctor. So this father thought, wow, my son is going to become the first doctor in this community. He had to invest everything to see that the son becomes a doctor. Took him to the best schools. He could do everything within his capacity. Obedient enough, the child followed on, went to all the levels, went on to the university, and later graduated as a doctor. He was not doing something he loved, but he just did it. What happened at the end? He just picked up the certificate, picked up the degree, and what did he do? And he gave it to his dad. Do you know what he said? Dad, I'm done with your dreams. You wanted me to become a doctor for you, not for me. You wanted me to become a doctor. Here's your doctorate. But I love to follow my path of passion. Who failed between the two? Is it a son or the father. Two people with different ambitions. Don't enforce your dreams on your children. What does it mean? You fail to succeed. How sure are you that your son will succeed in it? But that's why the world today is full of educated derelicts. People educated but without influence. People with so much degrees but can never materialize those degrees. I'm speaking to you, Styler. Do the best that you want to do about yourself. The point was focus. I want to talk about the last point for today. I believe we are all becoming champions today. And the last point is, don't get lost. Don't get lost. Most of us today, we are lost. According to research, 70% of employees today who go for the employment for their jobs are frustrated and not happy because of what they're doing. Why are they not happy? Because they're lost. I earlier on told you, don't just live for a living. Don't work for a living. Work for a legacy. Why are the employees so lost and frustrated? Because all they're doing is to earn a living. Someone will say, I'm just doing this job to survive. I'm just doing this job to live. What does it mean? The job that you do to survive, you'll never be happy in it. Because all your goals are, or all that you're focusing on, is to get the money. So let me ask you, imagine you have all that money. You have all that you need. What would you still do? Whatsoever you do, just make it so good and be happy in it. We'll be right back.
It is not about worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found.
But you have this moment.
I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.
About your originality. You've talked about your focus. And you've talked about your potential. Now, you could be watching me saying, these are all things read from books. These are all things I've been telling us every day. But let me tell you something. It's not about what has been read. You can never experience what has been read. It's about reality. In this show, we don't want to talk about what they say. I tell you what I experience. I tell you what others experience. That if you don't give your best, you'll regret. That if you don't live your purpose, you'll never be remembered. My friend, it is so painful to live up to the age of 40, 20, 30, 50, or 100 and never be remembered in life. It means you lived a wasted life. A life no one could hold on to. And that's a life without a purpose. So you ought to live a life with a purpose. I remember a story. One time as a young man, zealous by then, looking for a job. And all that I wanted in my mind, I wanted a job by then. Why? Because I'd grown up knowing I'll never be employed. But life had to squeeze me into the corner. You understand that? The times when life becomes so real to you, takes you to a corner of acceptance. I all had this pride. I can never be employed. I'll do whatever I can do. Blah, blah, blah. You understand? Until I realized I had to help my sisters, help my brother, help my dad. Until I realized I had to put food on the table. Then reality came. What happened? I moved up to look for a job. I went to one of the Jewish brewing companies. And they were looking for just casual workers. But I was this young man, smart as always. I told them, you know what? I can do whatever you want me to do. I have my computer skills. I can coordinate. And all that I could say. And the supervisor told me, we don't have any job for a manager or for a supervisor, but the only job we have is for somebody who can help us carry a crate. Carrying crates, putting in the trucks. You understand that kind of casual work? So I told myself, I've got to do it. But why is saying that? Remember, I was dressed in a suit. I had to carry the suit, put it off. I remained in a short and a vest. What happened next? I started carrying the crates and loading in the truck. From there, we went on carrying the bottles and filling them in the crates. something to learn there. I learned one of the lessons of my life. That in life, there's something you've got to kill, is a negative attitude. If I had this kind of attitude, I can never do this, I can never do that, I wouldn't be anywhere. How much were we paid anyway? 3,000 shillings per day. Those watching from somewhere, that is less than $1 a day. But I still had to work. I had to put on what people think aside and become me. And I'm talking to you. You say there are no jobs, life is hard, everything is not moving on well. Let me tell you something. Everything is moving on well. It's only you who is not moving. Life is going on well. It's only you who is not going. Put aside your attitude. You know, we hear people that, I can't do that kind of job. I can't be a security personnel. I can't sell. I can't talk. The more you say you can't sell, you can't do, you'll never be. Put aside the negative attitude. What kills us mostly these days, do you know what it is? What will people think? What will people say? You don't have to be mindful of what people say. You don't have to be mindful of what people will do. Let me tell you something. Don't live this life on what people will say. Live this life on what you will think about yourself. That's all what life is all about. I want to remind you, do it for yourself. If you're a parent, do it for your child, do it for your life. Because one day, we'll remember the things you've done. Always on Champions Chapter, we'll tell you the path to live a successful life, the path to grow that organization. Don't just live for food, live for legacy. Thank you. You have been watching the Champions Chapter. In case you missed the show, please always go back and watch again and again. Check us on YouTube, Champions Chapter on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, on the Champions Chapter, Instagram, and Facebook. And most especially, don't miss watching us on Record TV every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 7:30. I remain Philmon Okwong, always discussing with you, your host. Welcome to the world of champions, the Champions Chapter.
It is not about worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found.
But you have this moment.
I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.